Heroes and villains, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go over our 5 favorite heroes and top 5 favorite villains. So what makes a great hero? There are definitely 2 aspects to make a great hero, at least in our minds. Number 1, relatability. You need to be able to relate to the hero on some level, because that way, when the hero, saves the world, stops the bad guy, that sort of thing, when they win, you win as well. And also another thing that makes the hero interesting is that they actually need to be challenged in some way, shape, or form, whether with external or internal demons. But let's get right into it. Our personal favorite hero of all time, the Doctor from BBC's Doctor Who. The Doctor is an alien from the planet Gallifrey. They look human, travels around time and space in the blue police box called the TARDIS. He or she, depending on which particular face they have, they travel all throughout time and space, doing good, stopping evil, fighting the bad guy, and having fun doing it, while being eccentric and extremely intelligent the whole time, and sometimes lacking certain social graces. There are so many things we like about this character as to why they are our number 1 favorite hero. One of them being non-violence. Yes, the Doctor has gone to those dark places before in the mythology of the show, but overall they are very much advocates, and they lead by example of non-violence. Before they, stop the bad guy and save the day, they will give them a chance to say, hey, bad guys, stop what you're doing. This doesn't have to end this way. Usually the bad guy ignores them. Also, the Doctor carries around a sonic screwdriver. Not a gun, a sonic screwdriver. It's kind of a plot device, so to speak. They can just point and something happens. Again, we won't get into that right now. But it's a screwdriver. It's designed to fix things. Not a gun to blast obstacles out of the way. The Doctor has been to the dark places, experienced moments of great joy, utter sadness. Yeah, despite the fact that the Doctor is not human, the Doctor has experienced pretty much every range of human emotion. The Doctor from BBC's Doctor Who, our personal favorite hero of all time. Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings. Potatoes! Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew! Unlike many heroes, this hero is a sidekick. But Sam Gamgee, he's very relatable. He's your everyman kind of hero, He's, a gardener and a cook and, a servant, sidekick kind of character. He's not the, dashing hero and the fearless warrior type. You're more likely to see him fight with a, frying pan and a sword. No, we gotta love Sam Gamgee. He's the real hero of Lord of the Rings. Yeah, that's right. Fight me on that in the comments if you disagree. Captain Holly Short, Artemis Fowl. We've talked about Artemis Fowl before on this channel. We're going to talk about it again because we really enjoyed it. A classic strong female character, we'd say. She works in law enforcement. She's captain. So you'll often get the moments of her, the lone female in a male-dominated industry. She is extremely quick-thinking. She's extremely loyal. She's very sharp. She's a bit reckless, but she kind of turns that into her favor. If you're the villain, you don't want to make Holly Short the damsel in distress, because she will find her way out of it. She often works with people who are either much more intelligent than she is or much funnier than she is. I mean, that's just kind of the way the character's written. She's not the comic relief. We've all had that friend or that cousin or something like that is clearly smarter than we are or more talented than we are. We can relate to Holly Short on this one because she'll be in a situation, the funny one or the smart one will give a one-liner and she's just like, ugh, great, not this again, We can all relate to that. Nightcrawler from X-Men. Yes, of course, we're going to have pretty much the most Catholic superhero on this list. So Nightcrawler is a physical and moral force in the world of the X-Men. He's a teleporter. So just boom, 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 boom. One place to another, and just like that. Excellent, acrobatic, hand-to-hand combat skills. He is a man of faith, or a mutant of faith. Anyway, he's very much aware of his own sinfulness and the sinfulness of others. He is very, very empathetic. He understands people because he's seen the best and the worst of humanity. And unlike Magneto, who saw the worst of humanity and went on a murderous rampage, he saw the worst and he's like, I understand. I forgive them. He is a man of God. He even becomes like a priest in one of the comics. We have Olivia Dunham, Fringe. Complete boss. Yeah. Extremely good at her job. Olivia Dunham can often come across as kind of reserved, kind of cold, kind of stiff. She has a bit of a grim past that kind of factors into her character and her personality as an adult, but really deep down, like, she has a big heart. She's extremely loyal to everyone. She cares about everyone. Kind of the same thing with Captain Holly Short. You don't want to make her the damsel in distress because she will get herself out of it. Now let's talk about villains. What makes a great villain? There are so many ways to answer this. For us, what makes a great villain is competence. Your villain actually has to pose a threat to the hero. As we all know, the heroes might be the heart and soul of the story, but the villains are the soul. The villains are what can really capture the imagination. In a way, it's just as important, possibly more important, to have a good villain as well as a hero. Number 1, the HAL 9000 supercomputer from Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey. If you have not seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, it is a little bit weird, but the HAL 9000 supercomputer, so worth, like the 2 hours or so of not quite understanding what's going on. The HAL 9000 is like the original, smooth-talking artificial intelligence, that actually turns on our heroes. But obviously, it's artificial intelligence. I mean, how much development can you really get? I'm sorry, Dave. I can't let you do that. Now, again, I can't do the best HAL 9000 impression, but we have the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who. Anyway, they're a race of alien beings. We don't exactly know where they came from. They're as old as the universe, or very nearly. When you're looking at them, they're just stone, regular stone statues. The important thing is, don't blink, don't look away, don't turn your back, and don't blink. The key is when you're looking at them, they're just stone. But then you turn away, or you blink, and then unfreezes, so to speak, and then it can attack you. And now it can just come up and straight up snap your neck, but also it might just touch you and then they blast you to the past. As the Doctor says, the only psychopaths in the world to kill you nicely. No mess, no fuss, just one zap and they let you live to death. Creepy, terrifying, you will never look at the statue the same way again. The Weeping Angels are fantastic villains, the creation of Stephen Moffat. Thank you, Mr. Moffat, we salute you. So, Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh, definitely the tragic villain we're talking about here on this one. So Azula is the princess of the Fire Nation, a firebending prodigy. She is an extremely competent fighter, firebender. That brings up 2 things, actually. So number 1, which is deadlier? Azula's fire or her tongue, or her one-liners? A serious argument could be made for both. If Azula always lies, does that make her a truth bender? Okay, anyway, and bad fun for the day. Check. All right. Azula is a force to be reckoned with. Basically, when she's in the room, be afraid. Be afraid. Be on the defensive. You're in for a fight. Now, Azula, as mentioned before, really is a tragic villain. She grew up with an abusive father who also happens to be a, genocidal, tyrannical madman. Her mother ran away, and unlike her brother Zuko, who had a fantastic redemption arc, she never really had that chance. She had a dark side in her from the very beginning, but there was really no one to kind of temper that. There was no one to counter that. The dark side of her was just constantly fed and reinforced. And so in the big final showdown between Azula and her brother, it's epic, it's everything you could have asked for, but ultimately it is tragic. But you see her at the very end. Her mind has been shattered. She's just crying and screaming in like frustration and anger and sadness. It's sad. It really is. Yes, she did some very bad things and had to be taken down. But it's not entirely her fault. She deserves at least a chance of redemption. A tragic but terrific villain we have in Azula of the Fire Nation from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Next up, Grand Admiral Thrawn from Star Wars. It's probably hard to tell, but Grand Admiral Thrawn is not human. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, understatement of the week. Anyway, but Grand Admiral Thrawn is not human, and I like that, because yes, you have Chewie, and you have Yoda, and you have Admiral Akbar, but really, think about it. How many of the main players in Star Wars are not human? How many of them are aliens? He's not a Force user. So, because again, how many of the villains are Force users? Grand Admiral Thrawn is a military commander. He is an excellent strategist. And so he doesn't just look at the tactics of the enemy. He looks at the culture, the history, the philosophy of any given species or race. In particular, Grand Admiral Thrawn studies the art of a civilization, of any culture. That's how he really learns who they are. He's a very cultured, very sophisticated, very noble villain. Yeah, again, unlike the other Imperial commanders who are just out for power and for glory, Grand Admiral Thrawn truly believes that fighting for a united empire without a civil war to take on the rebels is ultimately the best thing to do. If you are in the command of, say, Darth Vader, you are terrified of your commander, so you're going to do what Darth Vader tells you because you're afraid of him. However, if you fight under Grand Admiral Thrawn, you respect him, and he will actually listen to you if need be. He inspires you to fight for him. So this is clearly a very unique Star Wars villain. Yes, his name was dropped in The Mandalorian Season 2. Who knows where this is going to go? You have to take your time with this villain, though. It can't just have a Darth Maul level of appearance, just in and out really quick. You have to give him time to really, truly just become an even greater and greater threat. And Captain Vidal from Pan's Labyrinth for our final favorite villain. If you've never seen Pan's Labyrinth, it was an early 2000s movie directed by Guillermo del Toro. He also did Hellboy and a lot of other, and Shape of Water, so many other movies. He's very good, very talented. So Captain Vidal in Pan's Labyrinth, he is the main villain. He's your classic, cold, cruel, demanding, dominating military commander villain. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't get too much development about this character, but frankly, it really works. In post-Spanish Civil War Spain, Captain Vidal is in kind of a mountain cabin, mountain kind of base. He's in charge of kind of finishing off the last group of rebels that are hiding in the mountains. He's terrifying pretty much from the beginning. 1 second he's just kind of casually listening to a suspect, and the next thing you know, he will stab them in the face. Just unpredictable enough to keep you on edge, and clearly, domineering enough that, him being in the room, it means trouble. So, Captain Vidal from Pan's Labyrinth, great villain, great villain from a great movie.